Hey everyone, how are you? It's Gordon Einstein, and I am doing something new today. I am at TheBlock's new fantastic facility. It's beautiful. You should come visit. What's really neat is that they have this amazing studio where we can do podcasts in service of the crypto and blockchain community in the UAE, Dubai, all around. This is the first time they've done an interview here. This is the first time me doing an interview here, and we're starting off, I think, with the best. We're not working up to anything. We're starting at the top. So I don't know how we're going to maintain after this, but we'll figure it out. Travis Miller, Bitcoin capitalist. Welcome to The Block and our first interview here. How are you?
I'm doing great. Thank you for having me. It's Travis Miller, the Bitcoin capitalist. We're out in Dubai. The Block, I just stumbled in here. It is fantastic. They have the New York Stock Exchange type desk over here, WeWorking type area. I mean, this is a first-class facility. I think this is probably one of the nice crypto-related facilities in Dubai, and I'm very excited to be here. This is the first podcast in this room. I mean, this is like major television right here. So I'm very honored that you guys thought of me for an interview, and happy to be here.
And I get the opportunity to get to know you.
Yeah.
To be honest, you weren't on my radar, which is my fault. I just got my head down because I got a baby at home.
Yeah.
But when they gave me the links to all your social media, I'm like, how did I miss this guy? And then you're well known and you've been in the game for a long time and you have a lot of good things to say. You have a lot of good things to say on policy and on tech and on mining. It's fascinating. And then you and I got a chance to talk outdoors. And of course, we're going to repeat it, of your journey as an entrepreneur and into Bitcoin. And you have interesting ideas about national strategies. Maybe we won't go totally in depth on that, but we can go into it. So, you filled a hole in my life. There was a hole called Bitcoin capitalist, and now it's filled. So thank you very much. Let's construct it this way. Let's talk about what you're up to now, and then we'll kind of go into your origin story. But give the viewers the headlines of what you're up to now.
Right now, my main business is Bitcoin mining in Paraguay and Dubai, and Bitcoin education, going out, talking about Bitcoin on social media, and converting people to Bitcoin, because there's going to be a major crisis coming.
Yes.
And I graduated during the 2009 financial crisis, and that just, opened my eyes.
You just totally dated me, by the way.
Yeah, I know.
Thank you.
It just turned everything upside down, and that's when I started studying economics seriously. I'm like, what happened here? What's going on? And I remember my dad every day is like, oh, you know how much our house is worth? I'm like, they're not supposed to double, triple. So that's when I started learning economics, finance, all that stuff, and went down the Bitcoin rabbit hole. And the problem is we're going to have what's coming is going to be biblical. It's going to be way worse than 2009. And there's going to be people that own hard assets, and there's people that don't. And Bitcoin, in my opinion, is the best hard asset to own because you can move anywhere in the world with it, where a lot of people think your real estate's a hard asset, but it's all debt-driven, and it's going to go down in value. Gold and silver are great, but Bitcoin is going to be the best option, and people need to know about it, and they need to save themselves and their families, and they got to be proactive. So I'm kind of out there. Everyone's on TikTok. Everyone's on Instagram and making videos. And one of the biggest misconceptions of Bitcoin is just it has no physical infrastructure. It's just in the thin air.
Yes.
I'll take you to a Bitcoin mine. Massive facilities, all these machines process it. It is very physical. There is very real network. It's the largest blockchain network in the world that is backing this currency, and that's why it has value. And a lot of people don't understand that. So when I post some of these mining videos, I was the first one to show some of these large facilities in the Middle East. I mean, they were doing 20, 30 million views, and people didn't understand how you mine a virtual currency.
That's a good point. I mean, I think in a lot of people's minds it's very abstract. And then when you show the physical, I've watched your videos, I watched your shorts. When you see the physicality of it, the scale, the technical skill, the investments that go into setting up these facilities. I mean, this isn't your dad's Bitcoin mine anymore. This is industrial, national level stuff, conglomerate level stuff. It's impressive.
As the price of Bitcoin goes up, the competition to mine it increases. So the power of the machine increases, the cheaper energy you need. So eventually what I believe will happen is it's going to be countries just directly mining it. When things go bad and countries need money to trade internationally, they're just going to nationalize mining the energy sector and use it to produce Bitcoin. Because back in the day, people could mine it on their laptop, and then it became the machines. And now it's like private companies and stuff. But the next level to this is when things go bad is it's going to be government-level mining and partnerships.
Interesting. Okay, there's a lot to unpack there. So I always say every superhero has an origin story. Yeah. They had their main film, and then when that's successful, you have the Marvel comes out with the film like Wolverine Origin. Because now we're going to do Travis Miller Origin. You gave us a taste of it, but let's go a little bit deeper. I understand that you graduated during the financial crisis. What were you studying or interested in before that? I want to kind of get a sense.
I was studying business and finance, all that stuff. I was kind of bred to take over family business, and I went into the family business, wholesale packaging. I was doing e-commerce, but I always studied the economics. I'm like, this is all Ponzi scheme. And I started learning about gold, and I started buying.
And this is before the financial crisis?
This is after.
Okay, so let me kind of just focus on this part. So you're into finance in general. Your family's into it. You mentioned earlier that you were one of the first and were a very successful Amazon dropshipper.
Yeah.
Was this before the financial crisis or after?
After.
Okay.
My dad understood he's like the internet and e-commerce is the future. So when I graduated, I was put in charge of e-commerce. So we started off with the company website. And I'm putting all this time in, and it's like no sales. And it wasn't a sexy product, package and supplies, right? And I'm putting all this work in, and I'm just not getting anywhere. I'm feeling like a failure. And I tried selling on Amazon and eBay. That just didn't work out. And this was before Amazon really had the Amazon Seller Central program. So tried it. It was nothing. And then that summer, I had some interns from my frat with me. Amazon called me back. They're like, hey, we want you to try it again. We changed all this stuff. You can upload.
They called you?
Yeah. They reached back out to me.
That's interesting.
They saw I had signed up, and they're like, hey, why don't you try this program again? So I did it, and everything, this is right when Amazon was blowing up, and everything.
Sorry, what year was this, or when was this happening?
Oh, God, it was like maybe 2011, 2012.
Oh, gosh, 15 years ago.
Yeah.
Wow, interesting.
So everything I was putting up started selling. And we had a big catalog of products. So what I did was I put everything into Excel, and then you upload this Excel into Amazon. And very few people were putting products on Amazon, so I was getting a lot of orders. But what I did differently than everybody else was they had a pay-per-click campaign on Amazon. So like on Google.
Pay-per-click, okay.
On Google, you're like, hey, I want to pay for this AdWords. If you're searching like pool supplies, this goes up to the top, and you pay $1 a click. They had their own in-house version of that, and no one knew about it. So what I would do is I make groupings of products and just put 0.01 cent. And so no one else was advertising. So my product would show above everyone else's product. Then I would get orders. And then it's like a Google search engine. Once you get the orders, it organically goes up in the search. So even though I didn't have the best pricing, I just had thousands of products that were going up.
So you seeded it initially at a very low cost because there's an informational advantage that you figured out.
Yeah.
Then it took on its own life, and you had a virtuous cycle. Wow.
So I eventually listed all our company's products, like 2,000 or 3,000 products, and the margins were, in packaging, the margins are 20, 30%, but I'm making 200-300%. Crazy, even higher than that on Amazon because people didn't care.
And even in the regular industry, I'm actually surprised to hear it's 20-30%. This is not a commodity type product?
It is a commodity type product. But
the margins,
we sell we wholesale to retail.
I understand. Okay.
UPS store or whatever. So then I'm like, I need more products to sell. So our business has been in business for 30 years. So we have all these vendors and we have credit lines. So I went to all the vendors. No one knew about Amazon. So I went to all the vendors and would take all their products and list it. And then I would get the orders, and then they would just ship the customer. So I started drop shipping, and that word didn't exist yet. I used to call it retail arbitrage. So I went out, and eventually I had a boiler room. I had rooms full of interns and college kids, and we had the split screen things, and we would take information from websites, put it in Excel, massage it, and then upload it. And this was this
manual, or were you scraping?
We tried scraping software, but it wasn't good enough because you kind of had to put your twist on it.
Yeah.
So I ran that for a while. At one point, I had 50,000 products on Amazon, and there were obviously issues like on returns and then each vendor, but I was making so much money, I would just eat returns.
Sure.
And like all good things, they don't last. Everyone starts finding out about it. It starts getting more competitive. Amazon forces you to take every return, 100% refund every time, and obviously people play with the system. So I did that for many years, and then I was always in the gold and silver. COVID hit, and
actually, pause for a second.
Okay.
So, how are you into gold and silver? I understand you're a business-minded person. I understand you're into finance. What was the initial trigger for that? There's many roads you can take in finance. What took you down that road?
I think just watching the 2009 financial crisis, and realizing how everything was just a Ponzi scheme. The banks have no money, the bailouts. And when you just, I mean, you don't have to be a genius. You look at the economy, you're like, this doesn't make sense. They're going to print all this money. Every world reserve currency has failed. And I listened to a lot of Peter Schiff, and I got into gold and silver. And I also was smart. I bought physical gold and silver.
Got it.
And I've been stacking for such a long time. Like I forgot. I'm like, hey, this is like insurance. I'm not trying to flip this. And like now, I mean, gold and silver are doing pretty good, and got a nice little stash.
Interesting. Now, the issue with fractional reserve itself, or is it the inevitable political temptation to dilute your currency?
It's the inevitable. I mean, they're going to print money. I mean, it's not backed by anything. It's just not sound money anymore, and it's just going to go until it doesn't go. And at the rate we're going, it's being exponential amount of printing, and gold and silver are kind of a hard asset you want to own.
So what I wrestle with, and I'm a Bitcoiner for over a decade, and I put my money where my mouth is. But the issue I wrestle with is the U.S. went off the gold standard in 1972 or 73, under Nixon, and he made this big speech. Oh, won't matter. Blah, blah, blah. And yes, of course, we've seen it decline in value over time, but waiting for the dollar to crash is kind of like waiting for the Chinese economy to fail. Everyone says it's going to happen, and it's the house cards and everything, but it seems to just keep on going.
Yeah.
And of course, everything keeps on going until it doesn't. Yeah. But I grew up. I'm going to date myself. I grew up in the 70s, and my dad was into silver. And I remember the Hunt brothers cornering it. And the 70s was all about inflation and stagflation and Carter and all this other stuff. And here we are in 2016 in Dubai, and we're still kind of having the same conversation. Yeah. So what's going on?
I listened to too much Peter Schiff, and he's like, hey, the economy is going to collapse.
What do you think?
It's going to zero. Yeah. I'm getting there. But
okay.
He's right about the problem, right? Everyone's right about the problem, but the timeline. And what Peter Schiff underestimated was that the amount the government's willing to do, how much intervention, right? And that's what most people underestimated, what they're willing to do to bail out the system. Like 2009, all right, we're going to give all the banks unlimited money so they don't fail. And during COVID, real estate should have crashed. But what did the government do? No one's got to pay their mortgage.
Insane, right?
So I have a friend, they're a real estate bankruptcy attorney. They went out of business pretty much because even the normal bankruptcies couldn't be processed. So for a year and a half, 2 years, no foreclosures. What did that do? Instead of the prices crashing, it short squeezed because there's no inventory.
Right.
And, so I don't know if we'll have a 2009 real estate crash like that because the government's just like, all right, no one's got to pay their mortgage. All right, we're going to send checks to everyone. And everyone's underestimating what the government's willing to do. And Silicon Valley Bank,
yes,
they went under. Deposits are insured, to $250? They said everyone's insured to stop contagion. Unlimited. And with that one bank, they used all the FDIC insurance from the fund. So when there's another...
I didn't know that. So the FDIC has a fund, and it was...
Yeah, so each bank pays into, they take a percent of what they make, and they pay into a fund to bail out troubled banks and do the FDIC insurance. They used it all on Silicon Valley Bank, pretty much.
Wow.
So the next bank that goes under, that's all just going to be government, taxpayer money. And we're getting to the point right now where, it's like, what's the point of paying taxes if they're just going to print the money? It's like, hey, we're just going to make up this money. Like, why are we even going through the motion of, paying taxes and doing all this stuff?
You're going to pay for it with new dollars anyway.
Everyone's
get off our case.
Pay with taxes, and the wealth inequality is exploding. It's not going anywhere, and you're going to see the political movements that reflect that. The polarization of eat the rich and all that stuff is going to come big time, especially when this next crash happens, because there's so many disenfranchised people. And it just feels like the middle America, people that are doing the right things, they're going to their 9 to 5, trying to raise their kids, doing everything, they're getting punished. And the rich are getting richer, and people are speculating and making a lot of money, but a lot of people don't know how to speculate. And that's why it's so important for people.
That was actually pretty deep. That was what you just said resonates a lot. People are turning to speculation, but they don't know how to speculate.
Yeah.
Ouch. So let me pose an alternative, and you tell me why you agree or disagree. So you have China, which looks to be an ascendant economy. And you have the yuan, and they're digitizing it, and they're buying tons of gold. Is that currency under the same dynamic, perhaps, as the U.S. dollar, or does that have legs?
What I think China's going to do is I think they're going to try to launch a gold-backed currency when the time's right, when shit hits the fan. I think they're waiting for the U.S. to be in maybe in another war, whatever. They're going to try to take Taiwan, and if the U.S. resists, then the real trade war will happen. And China's, I think, the largest producer of gold. It's illegal to export gold from China, so they have been accumulating for years. They also are the largest purchaser of gold, and they've also been indirectly buying gold through hedge funds and Hong Kong companies for years. And they're not doing that for fun. And what they could probably do is like make a gold-backed currency for countries for international trade and keep their domestic currency, right? So it'd be like their version of a Bitcoin for trading partners, like between Russia and China and stuff like that. But I think they're not going to get rid of their currency. And I mean, China was at one point the largest Bitcoin miner in the world, and they banned it,
which is odd.
And I feel like they shot themselves in the foot there. And if Bitcoin becomes what I think it's going to be, that's going to be a really bad move from China.
Or maybe there'll be a Chinese economic co-prosperity zone, and the rest of the world will be on alternatives, maybe Bitcoin. Yeah. Maybe.
Well, I had this conversation last night with a friend. China produces all the goods. And Trump's thinking we have all the cards and, we're going to tax them from importing to us. And I just remember being in California during COVID and like the shelves were empty. Everyone wanted a second fridge for their garage. And everyone, I live in Orange County, everyone's got money. Everyone's a millionaire. So it doesn't matter what the price is, they're going to buy what they need, right? And the prices of the refrigerators, everything was going crazy. And that's when you actually started seeing real inflation in the economy because everyone had money, but there's too few goods. Yes. That's when you actually really felt it. Now, if the real trade war happens and the whole Taiwan thing happens, and China's like, well, we're just not going to ship you. What does the inflation in the U.S. look like when the stores go empty? And you can't just move factories in the middle of the night to India and Vietnam or the U.S., and I was heavily involved with
or ships out of Taiwan, unfortunately.
And that's when I think you could have this overnight just crazy inflation if China just, hey, we're not going to ship you guys. That's when you could see.
They're doing that with rare earth, rare metals right now, and we're paying the price. Yeah. Interesting. Okay, interesting point of view. So you're down the gold and silver route. How did you go from? How did you become Bitcoin interested? And then how did you become Bitcoin life?
I stumbled upon Max Kaiser.
Okay.
And guy's total genius. I was watching his old show on Russia Today. He was the first person ever to report on Bitcoin at $1.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
And I watched all his videos. I'm like, what is this thing? So I started buying some. Well, the first purchase I made was remember we went to like 19,000 and it crashed down to 3,000? And I'm like, I totally thought it was a scam because I'm like the forever gold person, total gold bug. This is a Ponzi scheme. This is a total mania. And it crashed.
You sound like Peter Schiff.
It crashed to 3,000. Yeah. And I'm like, this is still more valuable than gold. And it's not going to zero. So that's when I started really buying it. But I didn't go all in because I'm like, the government's going to ban it. So I was like still like 80-20 gold Bitcoin and accumulating. And then the reason I went all in on Bitcoin was I had like 6 figures in gold mining stocks. Like I had those small caps, mid caps, and I'm like, if gold and silver do what I think, I'm like, I'm going to be a millionaire. And like Wall Street bets, the whole silver squeeze is happening. And I own all this First Majestic, all this stuff. And then everyone's buying it. I'm like, I'm going to make all this money. Like they're gonna GameStop.
Yeah, I was about to say, is the GameStop
They're trying to GameStop First Majestic. And I'm like, I'm going to make like a couple $100,000. And they just stopped people from trading options. They got rid of all the margin. JP Morgan started doing all this stuff. And you could not buy, during the silver squeeze, you could not buy physical silver, and then the price would be going down. The premiums, the spot premiums to buy it from a dealer were just going insane. There's just this huge disconnect, and they're just gaslighting. They're like, price is going down. The banks control the price of gold and silver. It's not freely traded, and that's why Bitcoin, it's one of the last free markets in the world, is so much better than gold and silver. But when that happened, I made the pivot. I'm like, all right, gold and silver manipulated. These aren't going anywhere until the system actually collapses. And I need to go all in on Bitcoin. And that's when I made the transition. And I'm like, this is going to be
Sorry, and when was this?
Ooh.
More or less.
Whenever that Wall Street Bets thing was, like maybe 4 or 5 years ago.
Not that long ago?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's when I made the transition to go all in Bitcoin, quit my job, and go down.
Quit your job with your family.
With a family business.
Not just any job.
Yeah. Well, it's a successful business, and I was bred to take it over. And my dad's a total control freak, so it was definitely hard.
That's what dads are for, by the way.
To get out from underneath that and then go do my own thing. And my parents were like, they didn't understand what Bitcoin was. They're like, you're going to waste your life. And then it's funny because like now it's like,
okay, son.
It's a thing.
Yeah.
It's a thing. And I got them in early. So they're boomers, but they own a lot of Bitcoin and they made a lot of money. So
they're happy to be wrong.
They're happy now.
But, as a new dad, they did see your track record with the drop shipping.
Yeah.
And they did. Obviously, they had a lot of exposure to you, so they know you're not rash.
Yeah.
I mean, were they
open
to it?
So eventually, they agreed, and it's been a great ride.
That's good.
I mean, I was doing the whole 9 to 5, working in the office. I mean, man, I've just traveled the world. I just did a week in London, Scotland, Arctic, Sweden, and I'm here. I mean, it's a movie.
It's amazing, and we're gonna explore all that. I like it. So you now let me ask you. You said but if I understood your thesis, you're saying gold and silver, the metals themselves, have value and will really have value when what hits the fan, but the markets for it are impaired for now.
Yeah.
Am I understanding you correctly?
So the price discovery for gold and silver is the COMEX, right?
Yes.
And it's just a paper market, and so like what you see happen when silver went to like 100. You see someone dump like $500 billion in paper silver to bring the price down. And there's some crazy stat where it's like there's like 200 or 300 paper contracts for every physical ounce of silver.
It's kind of like the banking system.
Yes.
Right? Fractional reserve. Yeah.
And a little bit of this was exposed when MF Global went out of business. Remember that company? They were a trading firm. And they were leveraged 100x to 1.
Oh, geez.
Things weren't even crashing. They were just leveled 100x to 1, and it blew up. And they had physical gold, but they had rehypothecated it.
Okay.
And that's going to be a word that's going to be used a lot in the next crash is because people own assets, and then people are borrowing against it, and then other people are borrowing against it. So when they went under, it just pulled back the curtain because there's like 10 different parties that claim ownership to that gold. And they're just using that one asset to borrow from all these different people and do all this stuff. Mm-hmm. And I feel like everyone's doing that.
This is the Big Short all over again, right?
Well, and for real estate, I got a buddy. Hopefully, he doesn't watch this, but he bought a house.
He's gonna watch this. Everyone's gonna watch this.
He bought a house during the crash. Mm-hmm. He borrowed against it, and he started doing Airbnb. And now the guy's got like 30, 40 Airbnbs in SoCal and in Arizona. But I remember in the 2009, Airbnb didn't exist. So I know guys that were flipping that went bankrupt, but you could only had enough capital to do 2 or 3 homes.
Yes.
Now the banks, you can just, instead of flipping those homes to sell, you would just flip them. Now you rent them out on Airbnb. And you're making crazy money because you're doing weekly instead of yearly. Then you're borrowing. You go to the bank. Oh, this property went up $200,000 in value. You're borrowing against that. So these guys that were only controlling 2 or 3 homes now have 40, 50 homes. They have no real income from other jobs, and it's all Airbnb. And if, like when COVID happened, it was just like instantly 0 income. I can't pay the mortgage on 50 homes.
Or it can be like New York where they ban it.
So you have that whole dynamic with this Airbnb bubble, and then you have corporations buying single-family homes. And I know Trump he's trying to pass a law to stop BlackRock and all these companies from buying homes. But you have a company, Homes for Rent America, publicly traded. I think they own 27,000 single-family homes. And there's about 3 or 4 major publicly traded companies that all they do is buy and rent single-family homes. So what happens when real estate goes down again? And a company like that, say they go bankrupt, on all 27,000 of their properties come on the market, all the people are doing the Airbnbs, dump. But again, don't underestimate the government. Hey, maybe they don't have to pay the mortgages, and it just becomes stagnant, and nothing's moving. But the real estate market, I think The stock market could go down, but I think when the real estate market crashes is when the big one will happen, because that's everyone's biggest investment. Everything's really tied to real estate in our country. Yeah. Everything's tied to real estate.
Interesting. Okay, got it. Oof. This is intense. So you saw what happened with the silver market, and you made your Bitcoin conclusion, and you went all in. So there's going all in personally, but you're a public persona, and I've had the opportunity to look at a lot of your stuff and really enjoyed it. How did you let's talk about that transition.
Okay. So I'm trying to figure out how to get into Bitcoin.
Well, sorry, you get into it by buying it. But
I started buying it,
yeah,
and then it wasn't enough for me. I said, okay, I want to be involved. I want to start a business. Mm-hmm. So I looked at doing a Bitcoin ATM business. And we have some locations in Southern California. I'm like, maybe I put it in the store. And I looked at the regulations, and it was crazy. Like FinCEN, like financial crimes can come in, audit you any day of the week, and if it's off, they can arrest you. So you kind of have to be a big company to run a ATM business in like California. And when COVID hit, I realized I needed a ticket out of town. I needed a second residency somewhere in case things go south again. Yes. And I had been going to Panama for many years. I had met some friends at this party in Europe, and I had been going to visit them for years in Panama. So Panama had
Sounds
a thing.
Fun.
Panama, it was very fun. Yeah. Panama had a thing called the Panama Friendly Nations Visa. So if you're from the U.S., Canada, or Europe, you can go deposit $5,000 in a bank, start a business, and you get permanent residency. And you got to make like 2 trips. And
that's a serious visa.
Yeah.
Not tourist visa, like
permanent
residency visa.
Which can turn into a citizenship in 10 years.
Darn. Okay.
And but you have to understand, pre-COVID, I mean, no one.
Who cares?
Go make these trips. Go wait in some second world country, like immigration room. Like very few people were doing this. Sure. And I used to watch a lot of nomad capitalists, but I was just like, what? Like there wasn't the need for it. But COVID hit, and it's like, whoa, restrictions. You need to diversify. So as soon as Panama opened up from COVID, I was on like the first flight. I go down there, I do all the requirements, and on my second trip back to finalize it, a week later to the end of the program. And I think their real estate was crashing a little bit, so they were like, now it's a $400,000 investment for a temporary residency. So I got in right at the right time. But with the company you make there, usually it's a dummy corp that you just make on paper and then you shut it down.
Sure.
So I have this company, and I was like, why don't I do the Bitcoin ATMs in Panama? So I kind of know like the rich kids of Panama. So I call one of my buddies, and I'm like, hey, like I want to put a Bitcoin ATM down there. I don't know where. Like, do you know a place I can put it? He's like, I know a guy. So he gives me this guy's number. Like we call on the phone. We totally hit it off. I went to school in the U.S., like worked for like a hedge fund in New York. And I don't know that much about Panama. This guy was the CFO of a company called Novi. It's like the Home Depot of Panama. 27 locations, big box, like one of the most popular stores in Panama. And this dude just cut all the red tape, put my Bitcoin ATM next to like Scotiabank and all that. And I'm like, whoa, I hit out of the ballpark.
Sorry, he put it in the branches of his company? Okay, got it.
Yeah. So it's like they're huge retail locations.
With the retail banking inside the stores?
Yeah, like they have bank ATMs in the store.
Got it.
Wow,
so wow.
You know, you have your Scotiabank and then Travis Miller's Bitcoin ATM. So he totally, I mean, it's all who you know. It's all networking.
I'll give you a comment. What I just met you, but what I love about you is something piques your interest, you go into it, and you then actually act on it at scale. That's a rare thing. Yeah. That's great. And you've given several examples of this in this conversation, and I'm a take action junkie, and it's nice to meet someone and hear the story of how this happened. That's great. And you didn't know how you were gonna do it. You just started making phone calls and started learning, and then so God bless you. Go on. Yeah.
That's, for people out there that you want to start a business or do something, and you're going to write the business plan, and you're going to sit down and do all that, you're going to find all the reasons not to do it and psych yourself out. And like, if you really want to do something, just go do it and figure it out. And you're just going to have to, learn through experience,
Very
right?
Cool.
I mean, I got a business degree in college. I've learned all my stuff in the real life, running businesses and in that way.
Super.
So I get the ATM in there. And I'm like, I'm going to be rich. Like, I'm going to have the total control of, like, a country, all the ATMs. No one's coming to the ATM. No one's using it. And at that point, like crypto is very popular in the U.S. Like what 1 in 3 Americans owns a cryptocurrency, like something very high number.
I'm not sure that's true, but it's definitely more.
We can fact check. It's a high number.
Okay.
But in Panama, like no one's even heard about cryptocurrency. So I was like, wow, I have to market this thing. And back then, like it was like crypto Twitter.
Sure.
Like what am I going to do? Google pay-per-clicks. Like I'm like, I don't know how to advertise this thing. So TikTok had just come out. And I made a video of like, there was like a group that came to use the ATM. And I filmed like, and there was a line of 4 or 5 people, and I had just no music, no nothing, just all the people in line to use the ATM. Posted it, and it got like 500,000 views. And I was like, whoa, there's something here. And then people started talking about it, and then people started coming and using the ATM.
People probably flew into Panama to use the ATM.
So
really?
Yeah. So I'm like, all right, there's something here. And back in the day on TikTok, everyone was consuming content, but very few people were making videos. So if you were producing content, it was like you were getting a lot of views and going viral. And especially in Latin America, because there was way less people posting and using it in that country.
And was TikTok popular in LATAM?
Yeah, it was popular, but yeah, it's so new.
Okay.
That people weren't producing, and like everyone's used to Instagram and pictures. So a lot of people that are famous on there, like I don't know how to dance or make videos, but everyone was like consuming content. So it started going super viral, and it started working. And then I was...
Sorry, next question. English or in Spanish?
Spanish.
Oh, okay.
So I was translating. So this is kind of how I got into it. So I'm smart. So I was hiring like cute models and chicks to come and use the ATM, like influencer models, and then I would film them, and then I would add the music.
You are smart.
And then it was going way more viral.
I bet.
But you know, you really need to post a lot of content daily, and working with these influencers wasn't good. Like they wouldn't show up, they want all this money, they have huge egos. And I kind of just got frustrated. And then I just made an English version of the account. I called it Bitcoin Capitalist. And then I also was like
on TikTok.
On TikTok.
Okay.
And then I started making my English videos and then kind of talking about it. And you know, there's a lot of people that are in their mom's basement talking about crypto and Bitcoin and all this stuff. And I didn't want to be one of those guys because I was like, hey, I don't really know what I'm talking about. But now I have the experience. I'm running these ATMs, how things work. And I started producing original content, like how ATMs work, how to use it, mines, all the stuff that are real things that everyone's interested in. And so all that content was very viral, like people using the ATMs and getting millions of views. So that's how I kind of got into the whole making social media. And I was so bad when I started. I would make videos and then I wouldn't blink, and people would be in the comments like, blink twice if you've been kidnapped. And
oh gosh.
And one of my biggest secrets to the success of social media, like if you're going to do it at home, do not tell anyone. Because if I would have told all my bros and friends and they were following me, it would have been so cringe and painful. I just like probably would have stopped. But I didn't tell anyone, not my family, no one. Not till I got big enough where people were finding me. Then I was like, oh yeah, this is my account and friends.
Oh, that's interesting. I mean, because by definition it's public.
Yeah.
But does that apply to Instagram? I mean, your friends and family are following you, or what do you mean? Maybe you set up a separate.
No,
account.
I have like no. I had like my own private personal account, and then I made this business account.
Got it.
And I didn't tell anyone about it. Because a lot of it, like in the beginning, you're not going to be good, and like if you're thinking what others think, and I'm now at the point I don't care what anyone thinks. But if you're new, you know,
I understand.
It's just tough, and you're like, especially people you know, because that you care about what people you know think, and just don't tell anyone and make that content, and like you're not going to be good, and it's also volume. Like not every video is going to be great. Like you just get a couple of videos up a day, even if they're not great, and you keep that momentum. And also you don't know what works and what doesn't, and you got to figure that out.
Fair enough. Well, I mean, you're beta testing it.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to. I mean, people form their opinions. Those opinions aren't necessarily valid, and also the challenge. I understand what you're saying. Once they form an opinion, even when you're better, sometimes it's a challenge to knock them out of it and kind of wake up. You know, this is the new Travis. Yeah. You know, and they can form their opinion and be like, oh, I saw him 10 years ago. I don't need to go. Yeah. So, but you know, it's good advice. Okay, so you do this social media marketing blast and strategy. went down influencer route and then away from it with the ATMs.
Yeah.
This is your way of putting Bitcoin into action and not just collecting it. And
no, and also, and the ATMs became very successful because a lot of people in Panama are unbanked. First off, second off, the banks were very, very strict there. So if you withdrew your money from a Binance to a bank, they would freeze and steal all your money. So the OTC markets were absolutely huge there. So there were very high margins. That was good. So I did Panama. I expanded to Costa Rica. I had an ATM at the Multiplaza Escazú, the big mall there. And then I went to Paraguay, and I put the first Bitcoin ATM in Paraguay. And
why Paraguay?
What?
So I understand Costa Rica because it's kind of
it was
adjacent.
next door.
But why Paraguay?
Paraguay because they also had a permanent residency program.
Okay.
So I wanted to go and do business somewhere where I could be a resident and be involved with the country. So they kind of had a no-show residency like the Panama, and I went, got the residency, set up the ATM. Like it was big news. It was the first ATM. I also knew that Bitcoin mining was a big thing in Paraguay, and I wanted to get into it.
Why is it a big thing?
Because
hydropower? Or?
It's the third largest hydroelectric dam in the world. Itapu Dam.
That's amazing.
So the dam is on the border of Brazil and Paraguay.
Okay.
They each own 50% of the dam. But Paraguay is an agricultural country, not a lot of industry. Brazil is a much bigger country. So for years, Paraguay has just been selling the energy it doesn't use back to Brazil for pennies on the dollar because it can't consume all that energy. And it's been a great deal for Brazil.
Yeah.
Along comes Bitcoin, which allows you to export energy globally. They start mining it, and they have very cheap
But
energy.
I want to capture that sentence. Along comes Bitcoin that allows you to export energy globally. That's a wonderful way of putting it. It's like captured energy, and you're not restrained by the wires.
Energy is money.
Okay.
So I knew I wanted to get into it, and if I'm just some guy talking in my mom's basement, I go down there, like the guys that are making moves down there aren't going to meet with you. When I came with the first ATM, it was in the news. I made all the right connections, and I got into Bitcoin mining there. So I gave it a good run there, and then kind of what happened was we're still mining, but the government in the middle of the night changed the laws, and if you're mining crypto, they just raise the rates where it's like very hard to make a good profit.
They raise the rates on electricity.
Not for everyone else, just if you're mining. So, but it's stupid because a lot of people are illegally mining. So they'll go to the energy company. It's very corrupt down there. So they'll go to the energy company, they'll just bribe them, and they'll steal energy and mine. And if you're stealing energy and you're not paying anything, this is like a drug trade. It's just straight cash, untraceable, tons of money involved. So yeah, there's a lot of nefarious people involved, and I mean, it's millions of dollars, and you're talking about a country, people don't make a lot of money, it's very poor. So you can imagine it was cowboys down there. So it was kind of disheartening because it's like the people that want to build businesses and do it legally, you're punishing them. And then all these people are still going to be illegally mining.
Sure.
So they raised the rate, and I talked to one of the top guys for Bitfarms there, and they are one of the largest miners there. That's a very big company. And I asked them, like, why did they do this? And there was, like, no warning. And his explanations is, like, probably what I think happened is Brazil has a lot of influence in Paraguay. They own all the agricultural, all this land, and they didn't like not getting their cheap energy anymore, right? So...
sorry, that raises the question. Was the Bitcoin mining electricity consumption such that Brazil got less?
Yeah.
Okay, interesting. That scale.
So Brazil,
Wow.
Brazil wasn't getting it, and they're worried that, this is all going to happen. So, and they have a lot of influence. They probably own a lot of politicians. And then just in the middle of the night, we're raising the rates and collapse the whole industry pretty much. It's very hard. You can mine, but it's like you have really powerful machines. The margins are really thin.
Sure, of course.
So I still have operations there, but it's just really sad because Paraguay's not a super big country, but the impact it was having on the economy is dramatic. All these foreigners are coming there, investing in these mines, all kinds of stuff.
And it's landlocked.
Yeah.
I mean, it'd be great for it.
And they just, boom. And what happened was all these people and investment and capital went to across the border in Brazil. So, like, literally everyone just moved it to the Brazilian side and is continuing to mine and doing the same thing. And people are going to, they're legally doing it. They're going to do it either way. So that's kind of when I...
But did you consider doing that?
Brazil is a little dangerous And it's a little wild. And like for me at this age, I was like, I don't know if I want to get too involved and do mining in Brazil and stuff like that. And that's kind of when I made the pivot to the UAE. And I've had some, crazy experiences being robbed and, some
here or there?
In Paraguay.
Okay.
Very wild, Wild West stuff. And I'm like, I'm getting to the age. I'm like, I don't want to put my life in danger anymore. And
I'm a little older than you. And when you get to that age,
I did some crazy stuff. I didn't like getting robbed, and I just didn't want to. I have money. I don't want to put myself through that. So I was like, hey.
And you're probably known. You have your social media. You're not anonymous.
And I usually post after I leave places and stuff, but I haven't actually no kidnapping or anything like that. But I was like, UAE is really safe, and.
Well, someone invited you here, right?
I got invited here from a TikTok video.
Yeah, say about that, because that's actually a cool story.
So I made a viral video of a big mine in Paraguay, and I put I think it was the soundtrack from Sicarios. It was a cartel music,
nice.
And it was the mine, and we had the guy in the mine with carrying a shotgun. And so this video went super viral. So these guys from UAE were like, hey, come build a mine out here, and flew me out here. And that's how I kind of got involved in the UAE. But the guys who flew me out here were very nefarious too and weren't very serious. And I'm here to work, and they're trying to party the whole time. So I kind of walked in off the street to a big mining company here, and they knew who I was. So they're like, hey, we want to show you all our facilities. So in this one day, I toured all these mega facilities in the UAE, and one of them is this really impressive facility. I mean, the miners were going 20 feet high.
Wow.
And I made this really cool content, and I posted it instantly, crazy viral, 20, 30 million views, because people in the Middle East in this country didn't know mining was happening. They didn't understand it. So that video went crazy viral. And there's another video where I'm walking into a hydro container, and the call to prayer is happening. And this video went all over the Middle East because it went very viral.
So a hydro container, hydro tank?
Bitcoin hydro. So it uses water to cool the machine.
Oh,
it's just a different type of mining.
Is this a cargo container type
setup?
Yeah,
it's a cargo container, and then the machines are in the container, and it uses water to cool the machine.
Okay, interesting. Because I've seen the modular.
There's different types of
Sure.
immersion, air-cooled, and hydro.
Wow.
So
you're going in there, there's a call to prayer. What a scene.
So, everyone's sharing it in the Middle East. It was a really cool. I remember when it was happening, I'm like, this is a really cool video. So it kind of went through the whole Middle East, and everyone knew who and this is still kind of a couple years ago. Everyone knew I was in Dubai for that week, and it kind of opened a lot of doors here. And then it was really funny. So Bitmain,
Sorry, let me pause you a sec, because we're going to talk about your social media advice also. What's it? I haven't tasted this, but I don't have much of this, and I'm kind of trying to. What's it like to be recognized in a new place?
It's very cool.
Okay. Is it ever odd? Or
no, I don't get super recognized, but in smaller countries, in Paraguay, it's not a big country, and I make viral videos there. So I'll go out, and people are like, "Oh, I saw you in this video,"
it's awesome.
In Paraguay, maybe here, but in the U.S., I'm not that big, but I've never been recognized in the U.S. But smaller countries, and you have a couple of viral videos, people will recognize. Also, I'm not in all the videos, but most people think I'm Djokovic here. I don't know. I've never been called that. Think I look like him in the United States, and when I'm in Paraguay, Argentina here, I have people come up to me thinking I'm Djokovic, the tennis player.
That's crazy. But that went viral here, and then you're being recognized at meetups or on the street.
Just on the street.
That's amazing.
Meetups. So those videos led to Bitmain, which they actually manufacture those containers and equipment. Reached out to me, and they're like, "Hey, we want to fly to Spokane, Washington. We have the largest hydro mining operation.
You're getting flown around a lot.
So we want to come make content at this thing." And it was all mining whales there. So it was a great networking event, and got to see. The company's called Merkle Standard, big company mining out there. And so that was a cool experience. So I've kind of been flying around and doing the mining and educating people. So.
And would you say that brings us up to the present?
Yeah.
Okay. Amazing. So you bought it yourself. You saw a business opportunity with the ATMs. You were a venture capitalist. There's no money capitalist in your venture capitalist. Going to Panama and Costa Rica and Paraguay, then the UAE, then to Spokane, and then kind of doing this itinerant lifestyle. It sounds like your focus right now is education and advocacy and trying to get the word out.
Yeah.
Is that fair to say?
Yeah.
Good. So one of the videos of yours that I watched, I really liked. You said many good things in there, but two really stuck in my mind. You said everything's cringe until it works, and you gave me a nice disclaimer outside.
Yeah.
I understand you didn't come up with it, but you came up with it for me.
Yeah.
So I like that. And you were saying that in connection with the social media, but I think you meant that also broadly. I think to generally be brave and to do things because everyone aligns later on when it's working. And you made some prescriptions about how people should armor, protect, and position themselves given what's coming.
Yeah.
So I'd like you to talk about both of those.
Okay. Yeah, talking about the cringe thing, like when I went to Panama, cryptocurrency, no one had heard of it or whatever. Everyone was like, "You're a scammer."
Mm.
Like you should see the comments and what people were saying. They're like, "This is a fake," because this was, Bitcoin isn't where it is now. Like back then, now it's companies.
There's ETFs.
The president's. I got a company mining it. Like no one was doing it. It was so new. Everyone thought I was going to zero. And like when I went to these countries, everyone's like, "You're a scammer. You're just stealing all our money." No one understood it. So I knew what Bitcoin was, and I'm like, I just deflected it all. But yeah, I mean, going and putting the first Bitcoin ATMs in these countries, like there were a lot of haters.
Sorry, remind me, Panama uses the U.S. dollar?
Yeah.
If I remember correctly?
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting. So those ATMs are accepting dollars.
Yeah.
Interesting.
So I sold my ATM business to a big European ATM operator. It was a good way to get into the business and be taken seriously.
Sure.
But I was like, I kind of wanted to go on to the next thing, which is mining and kind of transition. But yeah, if you're making content, you're not going to be good in the beginning. And a lot of people, there's new platforms, like people are on Instagram making pictures. You got to figure out how to do the TikTok. And you got to see what a new social media is and what it is and be early. Because a lot of people, like on X, like they're entrenched. They were big early, they're, in that. Right now, I think live streaming is going to be the new TikTok. And the reason why I think that is AI is taking over right now. So
Sure.
I just saw a video the other day, and I didn't realize it was AI until I really closely examined it. Because the pictures were always good, but now the videos of the AI are getting so good that I had to go and like triple check.
Mm-hmm.
So what's going to happen to all these influencers and stuff when they got you're a vacation influencer and you got to go travel to Fiji when they can just make an AI video for $5?
Mm-hmm.
Like
what is going to happen?
All those people, that's out of business.
Mm-hmm.
So where is that all going? It's going to go to live streaming because it's live. You can't duplicate it. That's kind of where I think.
Are you sure you can't duplicate it?
You can't live stream AI. I don't think so. So I think live streaming is
for a while
is going to be if you're looking to get into social media, like all right, Instagram, it's going to be very hard to start from scratch. Same thing with TikTok, unless you have very well professional content because it's the competition for content is so good. But the competition on live streaming is not that big right now, especially like on a Kick. If you get out there now and you consistent every day, like you can make it on Kick. All these other platforms, I don't know. But if you're willing to go all in on like a new Twitch or Kick right now, like you can make it happen.
That's interesting. Okay, so live streaming is specifically on Kick.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, and then I think we both share the feeling and maybe the logic that we're heading for this biblical proportion, COVID times 1,000 moment.
It's the everything bubble.
Yeah, that might not end.
The everything bubble.
So what's going to happen, why, and what should people do about it? First, what's going to happen?
The system's going to break. What I think will happen is the banks that are all giving out these loans they can't pay, and pretty much the banks own all the real estate because everything's debt financed. So the banks own everything. And the banks are going to go under. And I don't think there's the political willpower to bail out the banks again. Because they got all the big bailouts, and it's all the same people. Mm-hmm. They've done all the same stuff again. So I think the people aren't going to stand for another unlimited.
Sorry, there's not the willpower. There's not the gunpowder.
Because maybe the political willpower. Yeah. Or you think the politicians are going to go out and bail out the banks again? You don't think the constituents are like, well, we're not getting bailed out. We already bailed them out in 2009. You didn't fire anyone. Nothing happened. I just don't think they can do that again. So what I think is going to happen is when the banks start going under, they're going to be nationalized.
Okay.
So the government's going to take control of the banks, and we might just have one Federal Reserve Bank.
Mm-hmm.
And then you'll kind of see a command and control economy, because then they can be like, all right, we need to bail out restaurants. Everyone, all right, you're getting $1,000. They did stimulus. Everyone, here's $1,500.
Mm.
They could be giving stimulus out, but you have to spend it at certain places. All right, here's $1,500, but you have to spend the next 60 days at restaurants, and they kind of steer the economy. And that's not free market, and then that leads to more problems. And I think eventually, just the currency goes under.
Let me pause for a second, because it's an interesting scenario that you're painting, and my mind immediately went to central bank digital currencies. Yeah. Maybe this kind of feeds into that, because if there's one national...
No, that's the next step.
Yeah.
And you could see if the dollar goes, like the Europe and the U.S. get together and they launch a bigger currency and try to save the system. But it's going to be scary times, because we're going to have bank holidays, bank bail-ins, where,
What's a bank bail-in?
So let's just say the bank's going under and you got $1 million in there. They might just take part of it as their money to bail out the bank.
Okay.
And they've tested that in Cyprus. They were doing bank bail-ins in the banks there, and kind of maybe a blueprint for what might happen in the United States. Mm. But there's going to be unrest. Like when people go to the bank and their money is not there. But what I think they'll do is like what they did with Silicon Valley Bank. They're going to guarantee all deposits, right? Mm-hmm. Which is what, trillions of dollars. And people are going to start losing faith in the system and the dollar. But no one knows the future. No one knows what China and Russia are going to be doing at this time. Mm-hmm. But there was a WikiLeaks email between Russia and China. And the Russians in the 2009 financial crisis were like, why don't we join forces and dump treasuries? Mm-hmm. And China said no. China's like, we're the largest holder of treasuries. We're going to hurt ourselves because there's going to be no buyer of this, right?
Thanks, but no thanks.
I don't think that will be the case again. Mm-hmm. I think when the U.S. goes down, Russia and China and other countries are going to try to kick us. And who knows if they try to jump to treasuries. I mean, China's already saying they're not buying treasuries, they're buying gold.
I was about to say they're trimming their treasuries.
Yes.
Probably maybe in anticipation of this.
So that's also going to be very scary, because in 2009, everyone was on the same page. China, Europe, let's bail each other out, let's save the system. And the world's very polarized now.
Yes.
It's not just the United States controlling everything. So you're not going to have this global, get along financial recovery. And I think other countries are going to come after us big time when we start going down financially.
So there's that geopolitical threat. And we're not the country we were 20 years ago.
No.
In every metric, I think we're relatively down in every metric. So we don't have the leverage we did. And there's all these other trade routes and currencies and blocks, and you're right, there's this aggravated situation. How does AI play into this?
AI is very scary, because it is going to replace jobs faster than we can, create new ones. Mm-hmm. And that is going to be a major problem. And I remember watching Andrew Yang and like, this guy's a scammer, universal basic income, why don't you get a job, all that stuff. And now you're looking at him, he's a genius because he saw what was coming. Mm-hmm. And all these entry-level jobs are going to go by customer service. Mm. I mean, just think about when they automate cars. All the truck drivers, Ubers, that's millions.
All the Taliban.
Millions of jobs everywhere. Mm. The AI is just, I just saw the Clawbot thing where you download it, you're on the Mac Mini, and it's incredible. Like, how many people are going to get replaced? So we could be talking like just massive global unemployment. You look at the Philippines, right? Like, they do all the call centers, customer service. Like, what's going to happen to all these countries that kind of have all that stuff? Those jobs are going to disappear.
I think that's going to be gone this year.
I know.
This year. It's not, I think it's probably already happening.
So it's also going to, it's just going to also, the wealth inequality globally is just exploding. It's going to, it is already really high. It's going to go to a whole new level, because like, look at my family business. All right, there's like 40, 50 employees. You got the truck drivers, warehouse people, and then the customer service, sales people. Sure. It's like in the next 24 months, like half of those people are probably going to be replaced by AI or software. And then it's like, where else are those people going to get those jobs right now? So you're going to have...
Sorry, and I think in 4 years, the physical part is going to be replaced by these...
Yeah, eventually it'll be automated drivers, forklifts, all that stuff. what are all those people going to go do for work? So there's going to be countries are going to have to come out with like some form of UBI, or you're going to have massive social unrest.
Can the Philippines afford UBI?
No, I mean, countries like the U.S. probably will, but these other countries won't. And we're just going to have these massive changes globally where people aren't going to have work. And you look at it, all right, like my parents, they own this company. And they're going to go from 50 to 10 employees and probably make even more money because they're not paying for medical, all the expenses, sick days. They're probably going to increase their margins, and the people that control this wealth right now are going to be kind of cemented in that wealth.
Right.
So if you're watching this, right now is the time to make a lot of money, because once this gets embedded, like the jumping social classes is going to become extremely hard.
Extremely hard. So you said earlier in the conversation that people should have hard assets, and maybe a house isn't so much a hard asset. Is your parents' business or other businesses like that, small, medium enterprises, are those things to get wealthy with now, or do you need to be rethinking that whole process? Like, what do you do if you're a business owner?
No, you got to own a business because, all right, we sell wholesale commodities. Price goes up, we just increase our price, right? So we're keeping up with inflation.
Okay.
So if you're a salaried employee, everything's going up, you're making the same. So all the business owners are making money because you can change your pricing, right? So you gotta own a business. If you're not making money for yourself, you're making money for someone else. And the other thing I want to stress is there's no job loyalty anymore. Like when my grandfather worked for a company, he was a sales guy, he got a private pension. He retired like super early, and then Social Security lasted him, and he was very good at like picking stocks, and they had this incredible retirement. That's not going to exist.
Gone.
That's gone. And people need to own their own business, because like when the next financial crisis happens, like, all right, you've been working at this company for 30 years. They don't care. They're going to fire you, either replace you with AI or hire some college kid that just graduated for half the price. And
Of which there'll be plenty.
Yeah, and I mean, I have friends now. I mean, they worked for a company for 12 years, and they didn't even call them. They just sent them an email and deactivated his computer. There's no loyalty. They don't care how long you've been there, and corporations are ruthless. So you really got to be in business for yourself. And like most of my friends from college and high school are in the corporate sector. It's like now you're married with kids, you got the mortgage, and you're probably going to be like 45 and boom, get laid off out of nowhere. And there's not
right when everyone else is.
Right when everyone else is. And there's not going to be a lot of great jobs available. And also like tech, like I remember when all the tech boom happened, they were hiring everyone. Even when like Facebook didn't even need positions, they would go buy engineers to keep them out of hands of other companies.
Sure.
That's gone right now. Like where people are like, oh, I go to work at Facebook and I don't do anything. Like all that fat is being cut right now. So all these great jobs aren't going to exist. Like you have to make your own job, and can't stress, you got to be a business owner.
So let me one argument, and then I'll make the counter argument. So I'm not an AI expert, but I'm working on it as fast as I know how. And I'm well aware that there's lots of reports of these engineers haven't written code for months now. You know, they're just vibe coding with Claude Code, and, you know, they make a change, and they're not even getting a diff file anymore. They're just seeing the updated demo on the screen, and Claudebot's amazing. I've heard the argument made that when this knowledge work becomes commodified, the demand for it doesn't go down, just people use it a lot more. So, for example, there used to be a very expensive medical test. And even when people potentially needed it, the doctors wouldn't recommend it because the insurance wouldn't agree to it because it's so expensive. Now, with AI and new techniques, it's cheap and trivial to give it. So the use of it didn't go down. The use of it exploded. And these radiologists are more busy than ever. They're having to train new ones because everyone's getting this test now. Is there maybe an argument that our productivity is going to gain so much that we're just going to, this excess, the surplus of capacities can be immediately consumed because you're going to have access to it and need it in order to keep up?
Maybe, where you hire the people to operate it. That could be a way.
I'm not saying it's right. I'm hearing both sides of the argument right now.
No, it could work, but I mean, I'm just looking at like if you're starting to do business and you look, like especially in the United States, it's so litigious. when you got an employee, they're taking their sick days, they can sue you, you can do all this stuff. And it's like, if anything you can automate, these big companies are automating.
Sure.
That's just the way I see it. And maybe they're not going to fire all these people, but going forward, they're going to be using AI, maybe not replacing them right away, but they're going to figure it out. And I just went on TikTok. The last 20 videos were Clawbot or whatever that is.
Yeah.
Like, it's happening. Like, everybody is talking about it. The same buzz I hear about that is when ChatGPT first came out. And now everyone's using ChatGPT. So things are happening fast, and we live in such a fast economy right now. Like, people are going to integrate, and people are so smart now. They know how to do all this stuff. So I think this AI is just, this is a real practical integration, I think.
Should you own your home? Should you have a debt-free residence?
Yeah.
Okay.
I think real estate's a good investment, but it all depends what you buy for it, what you pay. Like,
maybe not even investment, but should you have a property you own that you're not renting and don't have a loan against, given what's happening, to sort of armor yourself? Or is that
I would
too
say
static?
It all depends. Like, everyone's different. I would say, like, get a business first. Then worry about buying a home. Because, like, everyone, like, I'm from Orange County, where, like, the home prices go crazy. I bought for $1 million, it's worth $5 million. And from our culture, like, you got to own real estate to build wealth. And for a lot of people, it's worked. Like, the boomers, like my dad, he moved from Chicago to Southern California and rode the whole boom, bought all this real estate, industrial, like, hit the jackpot. And that's another thing I want to talk about is boomers. The system's completely worked for them, right? If the boomers, the Social Security,
but the Zoomers,
the American system has worked for the boomers. So the real estate's worked out, the stock market's worked out, Social Security, all these things haven't failed them, and so they're the biggest hardliners of, like, everything's going to be good, and they're the ones that are going to be hardest hit when the system crashes, because very few of them are, investing in, like, Bitcoin and some of these new deals. And they're, like, I talked to my parents, like, oh, we're never going to leave, like, get our second residency. They wholeheartedly believe in America. And I'm like, I love America. I think we're a great country. But these things are happening. Math is math. And you kind of got to get these second residencies, get into Bitcoin. Just owning Bitcoin is not enough. Like, Bitcoin's not going to save your life when things are happening. For me, like, the next time people are fighting over toilet paper, I'm going to be drinking a pina colada down in Panama. So being able to go to other countries, like, what's that worth? And the other thing right now is, like, you can go get these residencies for pretty cheap. A lot of them are closing up, but when things go south, you think, like, a Panama and Costa Rica and Paraguay are just going to be like, oh yeah, it's $5,000 to get in here. No, they're going to want $1 million. You're going to have to invest in this. You're going to have to bring stuff. All the low end, like, bromads they're not going to let them in anymore. It's going to cost you a lot of money.
So I think you need to act now.
You need to make moves now. And I understand a lot of people got families, they don't want to move. Like, you really got to be proactive, but no one knows when things are going to happen, and you can't buy insurance after your house is on fire, right? So
sorry, you said, in order to establish those second residences, look, I'm married, I got a kid, I'm here. In order to establish those second residences, which I agree you should do now, must you move?
No.
Right, so you don't have to go.
No, I have no-show residency. So, like, the Panama residency, I just have to step foot in the country, like, once every 3 years, and they're not that strict on it. Same thing in Paraguay. That's why I like those special residencies, because, like, you don't have to live in the country. Like, El Salvador, if you want the residency, you have to live there. Or they have, like, $1 million citizenship by investment right now. So, but you can still find a lot of these countries. I think there's, like, a Honduras, Montenegro, where you can get residencies. You don't have to live there full time.
Okay, we're good to know.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're coming up on, actually, we're slightly over an hour. It's been great. So, thinking for the future, here we are in 2026. I like lists. So, in order to position yourself to survive, but B, benefit from what's coming, I'm hearing active involvement in Bitcoin. Yeah. Okay. I think I'm hearing diversify your residences and probably your banking and cash also. One thing you said on one of your videos was build up your social media. I think you meant that not just because it's good on itself, but also because maybe that's going to carry you through what's coming in part.
Yeah. Social media is an incredible networking tool. And it was really funny because before I started doing this, I like did not have social media. I was like the guy that didn't have Instagram, like nothing.
You really overcompensated.
I had nothing, and
Yeah.
my friends would always joke, and then I realized the power of social media because some guys want to be, I want to be this millionaire, mysterious person, and then you meet people, no one knows who you are. Like, there's no, I can't verify what you've done or whatever. And with social media, like you meet someone new and they go on your Instagram, you got 400,000 followers, and they can see track record and videos and stuff you've done in real life. It gives you credibility and opens so many doors. Like I can't tell you how many places I go. And especially what's great with the Bitcoin community is like I can go to any country and there's a Bitcoiner there that will meet up. Like I went to Hong Kong, didn't know one person, met a Bitcoiner on X, got invited to these awesome, parties at Soho House, all this stuff. Like there's Bitcoiners in every country and you can kind of network on social media. And it's a social credit score. Like people don't know, you can see they can kind of fact check you. Or if you don't have social media and you're like, oh, I've done this and this, like, I don't know. You gotta, it's a weird thing, but like it's definitely, you should have it going forward. Bitcoin.
I say it's like social GitHub. It's like, oh, what are your pull requests? Okay, wow, you've done great. Yeah. Okay, now I know.
So, and then Bitcoin, physical gold and silver, but you got to have the gold and silver like where you're at. And the problem now is like I have a lot of gold and silver in the U.S., but I'm like, all right, if things go south, like I don't know, I'm going to liquidate it. I want to be down in Argentina. It's not movable. That's why Bitcoin's so great.
Yes.
And then these second residencies could save your life one day. I mean, think about if you're in Ukraine and you're a 20-year-old guy and you're getting drafted or conscripted and to go off to slaughter, and you had a residency in the UAE and you could have just gone on a plane, it would have saved your life. Yeah. Another story I like to tell is like, all right, say you're upper middle class in Ukraine, you owned $1 million home, you have money in the bank, war breaks out, your house is destroyed, the bank doesn't work anymore. Yeah. If you had $1 million in Bitcoin, you just hopped on, be in London, and be a millionaire still. And so, and also, like they had stories of people with gold and silver trying to get out and like being caught at borders. So if you never know when war's going to break out, but if you have Bitcoin, you can just memorize the code, go anywhere in the world, and have your wealth.
Yes. Like
there's no other asset like it. And like Obama said, it's like having a Swiss bank account in your pocket.
Which is, maybe he didn't mean it in a nice way, but I think that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Especially since Swiss bank accounts aren't Swiss bank accounts anymore.
Yeah.
Then what do you think about other, there's Bitcoin, then there's Ethereum and Ethereum-like useful tokens. Then there's this other stuff, and there's meme coins. I mean, is it pure Bitcoin all the time, or does Ethereum and mainstream tokens or Cardano or Polygon?
Look, you can make money on these other coins, and you can speculate, but I mean, most of it's purely speculation.
I mean, you're not crypto capitalist, you're Bitcoin capitalist.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'm a Bitcoin maxi, but I understand, people can speculate and make money, and there's all these other coins, but there's only one Bitcoin. Like, there's only one digital gold. But some of these, other tokens might work out. They might be, have some, if they have use, be something. But there's only going to be one digital gold, which is Bitcoin. But I'm not going to say no against everything. And people, we live in a casino gulag now, and people want to speculate. They speculate on meme coins, and it's like a race to the bottom. Like it's like, idiocracy. Like, all right, let's bet on meme coins and the stupid stuff. And that these are just, expressions of how bad our economy is, right? Like,
everyone's
looking to beat inflation, and they're speculating more and more and more. And what's interesting is like the stock market, right? The stock market used to be like a speculation. Now it's like everyone saves their money in the stock market instead of a bank account, because you can't collect interest rate on your bank account, right? I remember kind of growing up when I was younger, and I got a bank account very young, and it was like, oh my God, if you get $1 million in this bank account and I'm getting like 6% interest, I'm gonna make like
those were the days.
All this money doing nothing. Now you can't do that. That money either needs to go to work now, so it's either going into real estate or it's going into stocks. And stocks, they're risky, but like with what they're doing, it just keeps going up and up, and it's been actually a good savings tool till it's not. So, but I see it with a lot of these retired boomers. They have all their money in the market because they're not making any more money. So the only way they can make more money is in the market. And if this market goes down, it's gonna just ruin the retirement of all these people. And Trump just owning in the stock market and, this is mine. who cares about all this other stuff? The Dow's at 50,000.
Sure.
They really own it. And another thing is, like, we didn't talk too much about politics, but when this crisis happens, the pendulum's going to swing the other way. So we kind of have this ultra Peter capitalism, Trump, but we really don't have capitalism in America. We have crony capitalism. So it's capitalism for the poor and it's socialism for the rich. So the banks and the wealthy always get bailed out, right? They don't have to take all this risk, but if you're a small business owner, you know, COVID, you get shut down, like you're not getting all this money like everyone else is.
Yes.
So we don't have this strict free market capitalism. We have this crony capitalism, like I just said. It's not perfect. But when the system fails, you're going to get a swing to the left and you're going to get like a Bernie Sanders socialist communist movement. And you're already seeing
Antifa on the streets. Hurting
Not
people.
just Antifa, but Mamdani in New York. You're already seeing candidates like that. And then you have so many disenfranchised people. Everyone just wants to vote for the FU candidate. And that Trump was kind of that guy. And now you're starting to see it with Mamdani because people are just sick of it and they want radical change. And we're going to get, when the crash happens, you're going to see this huge rise of socialism, communism in the United States. And who knows at this point with like other foreign actors also influencing and funding these campaigns. And it's going to just wreck the economy. We're going to see voodoo economics. Like you look at like Elizabeth Warren. Like she wanted to ban.
I don't want to.
She wanted to ban, I mean, for a while, she wanted to ban cold wallets and personal ownership of your Bitcoin and crypto. Like, and you have people like that and they want to tax unrealized gains. And California is looking at that. But these people don't have like a basic understanding of economics or how anything works. So it's like, all right, I'm on paper worth $100 million, but it's all stocks and real estate and company. You want to tax me at like 2% of that wealth? I have to go liquidate the stocks and real estate. This will force a crash.
Yes.
Because people have to liquidate. No one's just sitting on that cash. Like Elon Musk, he's worth $70 billion, but how much cash does he really have is all in speculation and stocks. So we're going to see like voodoo economics and really dumb moves after this crash by the government, and it's going to exacerbate the crisis and add fuel to the fire because these politicians don't really know how things work.
Or it won't affect them or their buddies.
Yeah. And it's just, I mean, the American people have just had enough. Like, all right, Congress can still inside trade. Like, they're all getting filthy rich off of inside trade. It's not illegal. Nancy Pelosi.
I was about to say Nancy Pelosi and
how much
husband.
money has she made? And, you know, I just feel like the hardworking people in this country are fed up. And then you see all the Epstein stuff, and it's like there's no justice being done. And it's kind of, I think it's a tinderbox in the U.S. right now. And then, you know, with all the inflation, people are, I mean, the groceries are insane. And, I mean, being in California, you have to make $250,000 to live comfortably. Like to make it. So most of my friends have left for Texas, Florida, Utah, other states. Other states, a little too far, but most people have moved to other states so they could buy a single family home and get started. And it's also, it's kind of population control when you increase the inflation this much. People can't afford to have 6 kids anymore. And a lot of people are getting started later, having kids and doing stuff because they can't afford the home and getting started. So it's kind of, it's eroding a lot of the social fabric in the country.
So I think for all the viewers, start running now and keep running.
Yeah.
Build. Travis, Bitcoin capitalist, you're awesome. This was great. This is really interesting. I appreciate it. I'm happy to have you here at The Block for the inaugural podcast. And we got the amazing Block people here behind the camera. Thank you so much, amazing Block people. So well done.
Well,
thank you so much.
for having me. This was fantastic.